about the outbound world altogether. I'm just really glad that Max and the team just decided to move in the direction which and made this integration live and public with Heyreach, obviously. We will wait out for a couple of more minutes. We will start with a quick intro. I will be just moderating this webinar, although even if you cannot pronounce my first name and last name, don't worry about it. My name is Ilya. I'm the head of revenue here at Heyreach. Joining with me today is Nikola Velkovski, aka Nick, the CEO at Heyreach. You already know, like the all-time, like pretty much these days, very hot name in the outbound world. Max Mitcham is here, and now we've got like from an agency perspective. So Alex, pretty much the OneAway team that can actually showcase everything that we've been doing and why these two platforms actually make sense to coexist one next to each other. So thank you all for coming. I think that we do have a decent number over here, like 60 people already joining, and people can, join further down the line. For everyone, welcome, and thank you for your time, for taking time to be part of this. You will not regret it. Stay until the end because we got a sweet challenge for all of you, like with a very sweet prize. Alex, you cannot participate, dude. Obviously, you won it already, so yeah. But then again, guys, stay to the end because we will cover in a couple of segments. We will do a quick round of intro. We will discuss a little bit on the theoretical part about the outbound, the social signals, and why is this important these days. Then, because we are all practitioners here, nobody is like a theoretical. We do not try to be like something that just shouts out things that don't matter. So pretty much we will go into details like a very strategic campaign that was conducted by me and Alex, and we will showcase on how you can replicate. By the end, we will announce the challenge. We will leave like 10-15 minutes for Q&A session. So stay tuned. You are in for a treat.
Just everyone in the chat, just change the chat to everyone so you can talk in there. Otherwise, you'll be talking to yourself if you have any questions to fire in.
Yeah. And guys, don't hesitate. Fill up that Q&A session. We will go and read out your questions by the end of this webinar. So welcome, everyone. Let's start. Max, Nick, floor is yours. Guys, what's up on the in the outbound these days?
Nick, do you want to go? You want to take us off?
Sure. I can start. Hi, guys. Hi, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Nick. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Heyreach. And Heyreach is the leading LinkedIn automation software for lead gen agencies and sales teams. Some news from our side. I think tomorrow or in a day after it, we are crossing 2.5 million in annual recurring revenue.
Nice.
So the things are going pretty good. Thank you very much. And I'm super excited to announce this integration with Trigify. It's been personally one of my favorite integrations, especially because of one situation that we had with my LinkedIn inbox. I don't know how many of you saw the LinkedIn post that we had, but Alex from OneAway with Ilya, they ran a campaign using the Trigify and Heyreach integration. They used my LinkedIn account. And I literally wanted to delete my LinkedIn profile based on the number of responses I was getting and the time I spent cleaning up that inbox. Pretty much 1 in 4 contacted people was a positive lead. So they can explain, they can give a really good teaser for what's expected. I'm going to let later Alex and Ilya get into the details on how we create the campaign, share as much practical details as they could, share the best practices, and give as much value as possible. Thank you, everyone, for participating, and thank you, everyone, for having us here. Max, you can step in.
Yeah, nice. So, hey everyone, Max. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO of Trigify. Trigify, you'll see what it is in a sec, but we are a social signal-based platform. So what that means is you can start to understand all of the behaviors that are happening across various different social media platforms, understanding the engagements that particular profiles have. Now, I believe the campaign that we're going to show today is ironically tapping into my profile. I think you ran it against me. But the concept is you latch onto a thought leader, a competitor, or your own personal brand, and then tap into those topic areas and then reach out on off the back of that. And yeah, I'm super, super excited about this. I mean, Alex got like a 1 in 3 or a 1 in 4 positive reply rate, which is just like obscene. But like he's not alone. Like I've seen other people do this already with Heyreach. It's just awesome. This integration. So I think it's gonna be really fire, and stick around to the end because we've got a cool competition, like everyone said, but also like some insane awards if you win that competition as well.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Guys, to give you just a little bit of a background on why the signals are important, right? You know, on a very high end, right? So for every outbound, and we basically see this, we basically send out millions of connection requests per month, and it's always going to be the same. Like, who are you reaching out, meaning the targeted audience, and whether the offer that you are reaching out to, is it timely or is it relevant, right? So the relevancy actually comes through social signals. Right, the timeliness is something that you need to discover throughout your outbound campaigns with a pre-qualifying question. With really like, is this relevant? I mean, is this something that you are willing to invest money in right now? Right, that's the relevancy. That's the timeliness that you need to discover, and nobody can tell you that unless you own Google and you know who is Googling what. Since we all don't own that, we basically stick to what we've got. Now, the relevancy is something that Trigify actually handles pretty nicely. Because this is not out of a blue call. This is not something that I've picked up your email over Apollo, or this is not something, a record that I've purchased from Zoom Info, or I've sent you an email from Sales Navigator just because I can. This is more like I found you, I've invested my time to learn more about you. I mean, regardless, like this is how we sell it, obviously. But then again, I've invested time to make this conversation happen, right? Regardless, in some cases that will be a thought leader, in some cases it will be something else, but bottom line is that people like to be that someone spent time on them. Like each and everyone gets like outreach messages, and we all get those. We offer website design, stuff like that. Like, dude, come on, do your job. Recently, I got a message like, do you do outbound? Dude, come on, like we own a LinkedIn outbound tool. So it's a dumb question. Just do your research, take some signal, create some relevancy between who you are, who am I, and why is this conversation relevant for both of us. Now, the signals, obviously, it can be used in various channels, right? So you have the presumption that we have a signal and we can scale it and we can use it on email campaigns. And of course you can. Trigify does an amazing job. You can send it. Max, correct me if I'm wrong. You guys do smart lead and instantly, or was it smart lead, right?
Yeah, so smart lead and instantly. Yeah.
But me and Alex over here, we set up a different hypothesis. What if you have so good intent signal that you don't really need scalability? And that's what happened, right? With a simple campaign on 300 people reached, we saturated Nick's inbox over here. And that dude basically came to me and basically either stop this campaign or hire a VA because I cannot take the notifications anymore, right? So, Alex, dude, sorry, we might have skipped you a little bit. You are an agency, you basically have run campaigns. Like, we will dive into the campaign, but a nice quick intro about yourself and the overview on Outbound would be nice.
Thanks, man. It's a pleasure. So my name is Alexander. My last name is going to be a challenge for most of you. Don't even give it a try. But yes, I'm the head of Outbound. My best campaign that I ever launched was, it got 1 positive hit in 8 people contacted, but it was in a target audience of 120,000 people. So it was huge. The second best is the one that we're going to be talking today about it. So yeah, I think we have a lot to share. And I'm going to give the floor to Ilir now. You can basically start. You can showcase the numbers that we have, and then we can take it from there. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. So, guys, this is where the technical part actually starts. Feel free to pop questions if you have any, like how do I XYZ from point A to point B? Don't be hesitant. The Q&A is there. So, okay. So, Max, please enable me to share my screen.
There we go, man. All done.
Yeah. So pretty much that campaign within Heyreach looks like this, right? We started it on the 1st of October. It ended up like in 15th of October, and these are the metrics. So pretty much we've sent out 320 connection requests. We've got 75% acceptance rate, send out 159 messages, and got 82 replies. Now, this is all good. Basically, you say, well, 82 replies, right? But here is the main differentiating factor. And the campaign is Max Mitcham followers. So pretty much if I set up a filter over here that goes with Max Mitcham followers, we can apply and just assign, another tag which says a lead. Pretty much this is actually Nikola's inbox over here, and you can guys see that we've generated around 53 positive responses, and we marked each and every one of those people as leads. And probably some of you guys are on this webinar because I've shared an invitation to join on this webinar, so please don't be upset. We just wanted to share the knowledge and just share everything that was done. So it's pretty simple. We took Max Mitcham followers because we are building out an integration. So now we have a bridge between, well, we have someone in common. This is why I'm reaching out. Then I'm going to leave Alex, but basically means that we took all of them, we filtered them out based on the engagement that they have made against Max's post, shoot them to a LinkedIn campaign, but with a very specific profile. And that was Nick's profile. Why was that? Because CEOs typically get 50% acceptance rate. So higher acceptance rate, more people message, more conversations generated. It's that simple. Nick?
Yeah, let me jump here a little bit. There was one comment on the post that I had. It was, yeah, but the results are kind of like biased or botched because you're a CEO. Guys, like, use all of the resources you have in your outbound. Like, the outbound is kind of like a guerrilla game. So don't feel like you're cheating if you're using all of the available resources. Use your CEO, use your CTO, use the C-level people. Those profiles generate much more responses, especially if those profiles are as well active on LinkedIn, are posting content and are running this thing that we call inbound-led outbound. That was, my 2 cents that I wanted to share here.
And I think maybe just to add to that, right? Like that can stem from Trigify. So like what you've actually done is tap into me as like, yes, it's like an integration, but it's technically like a thought like leader. I hate calling myself that. That seems really weird. But like the concept or the idea that you can do, like if you're not a big presence on LinkedIn or wherever yourself, and you don't want to use this to activate your own engagement, you can do it on like thought leaders, anyone in your space, and any competitors as well. Like those are like the common 3 use cases that are super powerful.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Guys,
another thing to add here, sorry for jumping in. Another thing to add here, when you're doing outreach to competitors, please do the filtering right.
Yeah.
We have had 2 or 3 competitor tools that have been reaching out to friends, family, my ex-girlfriends and stuff like that on LinkedIn, trying to sell their product. So guys, please do the targeting right, even if you're reaching out to those competitors.
Definitely. Guys, we will break it down why LinkedIn works and which profile work and basically what are the best practices over LinkedIn. But I would ask Alex over here to guide us through like the technical setup behind this whole campaign. What was the hypothesis? Obviously, we've covered that, but then basically how this thing was actually executed by us in a step-by-step guide. So Alex, the floor is yours. Go on, man.
Yeah. So I think it would be very, very good if we start and just showcase the campaign. And then once we showcase the campaign, it will be good if we go through why we think it worked and how everybody can apply what we've done in this particular campaign across all of the businesses. So I'm going to share my screen, kind of show you the campaign. I'm not going to quote anything. I'm going to show you what was the qualification process, how you can replicate the same thing, what was the messaging, and then we can dive a little bit deeper into why this works and what is the thought process behind the campaign. Is that okay with everybody?
Fine by me.
So give me 1 sec. So usually when I'm thinking about these types of campaigns, the first thing that I try to figure out is where can I find the hottest possible audience, right? And usually it's these type of people that you can just see that they're educating themselves on the problem that you solve. And so in this particular case, we were looking into who holds our perfect audience. And that's, wait 1 sec. Okay. And so that was people that follow Max. And the reason it was Max is because we know that everybody that follows Max is basically a little bit interested about Outbound, or they're running Outbound campaigns themselves. And so usually I think the more niched audience that you can pick is going to be a lot better because you have super targeted audience. If I went and got an account that had 250,000 people, it probably wouldn't be super relevant. And so in this case, we picked Max because we knew that he has 12,000 or something like this followers. And so everybody was super targeted. You can basically qualify the lead list in many ways. You can use the filters inside of Trigify. And so I'm going to log into Trigify real quick, but you can basically apply the filters inside of their platform, and you can push the leads that are relevant to you based on job titles, based on company names, or you can use tool like Clay. I'm not going to go super deep into how we did the qualification process because it's not relevant for everybody. Every case is going to be different. So what we did was we used the social signals inside of Trigify. We basically output all the followers or engaged leads that Max has, and then we push them to a Heyreach campaign. Now, the flow, you want to make it look as human-like as possible. And so here is where Ilya helped me out with this process. But basically, the usual process is think about what you would do if you had to manually reach out to those people. You would first send them a connection request. If they accept it, you would probably visit their profile. You would find anything personal that you can mention in the message, and then you would send them the message. Now, where most people get it wrong is they try to play, like they try to make 7 moves at once. So they send a message and it's super long. Well, it's best practice if you can keep it as conversational as possible. And so in this case, what Trigify makes super easy is just having that reason why you're reaching out, which is going to be the first line of the message. So I'm going to show you the message that we wrote. It's super simple, super straightforward. We have an observation line in the first line. So we say, hey, John, I saw you. And then we used here the interaction type, whether they liked the post or they commented on the post. Even if you don't have that custom variable, even if you say, I saw that you interacted with Max Mitcham's post, that's going to be perfectly fine. It's not going to be game changer. And then we have what we call a poke the bear question. So here we just ask about the pain point that we solve. And so this is the poke the bear question that we used. If they don't respond to that message, we just wait another day, and then we have a follow-up question and follow-up message, sorry. So in this case, we had a really good lead magnet. We said we're going to give you something that we know works. And so that's what the follow-up message looked like. I'm talking a lot here, but I just want to stop and see if anybody has any.
No, I mean, yes, it's a great showcase about the copy and how it's done. But maybe because, Alex, you've been sleeping on Trigify lately, you probably should get some restriction from Max, like you should pull it off. Let's imagine a scenario, right? A person wants to set it up, right? What would be the first steps? Like pick on any LinkedIn profile, right? How do we set it up to make sense from a Trigify table into a Heyreach actual campaign? Right.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going ahead of myself. I just wanted to show the campaign first and then go into the specifics later so that everybody can see what they're coming for. But basically what we're doing is if you go to Trigify, you have social signals. And so they make it extremely easy because it's really easy to set up. You just pick a person that you can extract the followers for their engaged customers. And so you input the profile, and what they give you, and you can input based on the plan, but you can input as many profiles as you want. It's going to give you all the people that interacted. Max, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the last 20 posts of that person. Am I right?
So when you first input it, it will go back the last 20 posts, and then it does it every single day. So you create like an evergreen campaign into Heyreach, basically. So it just keeps running on clockwork. So whenever I post, in theory, Nick is going to be reaching out to someone based on my post that I've done.
Exactly. So that's something
Alex,
that the client mentioned.
Just a sec. So previously, guys, there was like static posts. Basically, you get the engager, you get the commenter and stuff like that. But that post could have been like 5 years ago. That's not relevant because that person forgot that that post even existed. right? So pretty much this is something that it's live and it's ongoing. So it's something that, like Max said, every time I do something, this guy, I know that he will follow up, right? And why is that important? Because this is fresh, going in real time, and basically everything is happening within seconds. It seems like you are constantly on that post, just waiting for someone to click on that like or that comment button. But yeah, go on, Alex.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's the good thing about it. Most of the clients that we work with, they say, yeah, that's great, but you can reach out to only a handful of people, right? But that's the most targeted people that you can get. And the beauty of this is that it's an evergreen campaign. You set it up once and then it's gonna run on autopilot, because what Trigify has is they have this option where you can push the leads automatically, whether it's to Heyreach, whether it's to Clay, and you can enrich from there. But that's usually when I'm thinking about what type of copy or what type of campaign I can run for any of the clients that we have, is I'm thinking about who's the hottest audience, and then if you get the targeting right, the copy writes itself, right? Because you have the observation point. You get the leads, you run the campaign, and it doesn't have to be any complicated. As you can see, we didn't use any AI. We didn't use any complicated workflows. We just pushed the leads and then the copy wrote itself. And so you don't need huge volume for these types of campaigns. And that's the good thing, because the longer you run them, the better the outcomes are going to be. Because, for example, if you run email campaigns, the longer you run them, the bigger the chance that you're going to get restricted. You're going to get, your domains are going to get shut down. And then you have to swap the infrastructure. And I'm saying this as a person who sends around 200,000 cold emails every single month. But that's the truth. And
Yeah.
so I think the more the deliverability issues that you get from cold email, the more people are going to shift towards using LinkedIn, using social signals. Because even for cold email campaigns, if you get a super targeted lead list, you're going to get higher response rate, and then your domains are going to be much healthier. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Oh,
And Alex, someone's asking like how you would typically pick the person, but I think you pushed it to Clay, right? I think you did like an automation through to Clay and then use Clay to select based on various different things. Am I correct in assuming that?
For this particular campaign, yes, we did. What we did was we pushed the audience to Clay. Then we used AI. Basically, we scraped all the data, because Trigify basically gives you their LinkedIn company description, which is great. Otherwise, you have to enrich it. And then we used AI to basically tell us if that person is the right fit for what we are targeting.
Yeah,
but
nice.
then again, we did a second campaign, and I don't think we will have the time to showcase this one, but basically we just used the filterings and the tags that Trigify has to offer. So for instance, if a company matches, I don't know, a range of 11 to 50, and the job roles are VP/head/CXO, whatever they are, basically this is the only audience based on this filter that should be reached on LinkedIn, right? So I got a question just to break it down a little bit on the audience. Are there any in the audience, like, is there any agency owner, like any agencies here? Just raise your hand, type out yes, no. Yeah, love it. Guys, listen, the weirdest moment that happens for every agency, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm no agency owner, but when you onboard a new client, right? And then the first thing you got to say to them, well, we've got to purchase some domains and some inboxes so we can warm them up. And now you're pretty much in a warm-up sequence, which is nothing to do with you or your services, but you're waiting for 3 weeks for something to happen. And then I know it's pretty obvious that you guys communicate that with basically say, well, we need to burn them up, we need to, because for the deliverance and all of that. But then again, LinkedIn is already there, right? This is a typical type of campaign where you can showcase results within the first week. So this is you being actionable, hooking them up, and just exciting them to what's going to happen once you have those scalability momentum with multiple inboxes and stuff like that. This is a great type of campaign to validate a market, to validate an ICP, and pretty much increase the ICP followers of that particular client. And even if you get a bunch of no's, who is going to get mad if they have like ICP matching first degree connections on LinkedIn? No one, right? Cool. Alex, something else to share? I mean, now that we've touched base on this one, Clay was used for this purpose because of what? Like, I mean, you can repeat that, and if you have the table in place, maybe we can just show it that this is also an option. So you guys pretty much have two types of scenarios. Either go Trigify to Heyreach with predefined filters, or second option is Trigify to Clay to Heyreach if you need some additional enrichment or waterfall to be done. But yeah, Alex?
Maybe just quickly on that before Alex, well, while you're pulling the Clay table up, I think someone in the chat, I think Elliot asked how you can filter down. Basically, Elliot, inside of Trigify, you'll notice what Alex did there. There was a little thing called like AI smart tags. You can define your ICP, and then the system will automatically tag people as they come in each and every day, whether they fit that ICP qualification or not. Alex then simply needs to filter down to only see people that are within his ICP on any of the engagements that he's tracking, and then can push that data straight into Heyreach, basically. So that's probably how he did it for the second campaign, where he was doing Trigify straight through to Heyreach. And then in the first one, you can set up an auto push straight to Clay. And then I think he was doing the tagging inside of Clay, plus some other fun stuff that you could potentially do in Clay.
Exactly, and I'm gonna share with you the Clay template that we used in case anybody wants to use it. But I see you've got a nice community over there. Somebody sells private jets. That's cool. But anyways, I'm gonna share with you the Clay template that we used. Basically, I don't have all the data because we run it through in a different account. We used Heyreach's account for Clay. But what we have, all the data that you see in here is basically industry, the comment that they left on that person's post. When did they post when did they make the post? What was the post about? And then we get all this data, which is basically company LinkedIn URL. We get the company description. And then one thing that we did is we basically filtered and tried to see if we have these people in our do not contact list. If they are, then we simply just don't enrich any further. Then we have this prompt. I'm gonna leave actually this as a Clay template. Anyways, I'm gonna do it in a sec. But basically, I have the prompt. Everybody can check it in here. I'm asking GPT to basically output me a confidence percentage, whether we should reach out to that company or not. We give a little description of what we do, who we target, who is our target market, and then we give context about AI, about the company that we are reaching out to, which we are getting as custom variables. So once we get the confidence percentage, what I do is I only check this box if we get above 55%. So that means that they are good to reach out to. And then that's the only thing that we do. We have another GPT prompt where we quite simply just clean the first name, the job title, and the company name, and then we push them to Heyreach. So that's pretty much it. But most people don't get their data super wrong. So you're not gonna get like fake first names or anything like this, any doctor or anything like this before the first name. So even if you don't clean that data, I think it's gonna be completely fine. So
Guys, don't get your anxiety hit you up. I mean, I'm in the chat over here. I'm sharing you the full playbook on how it was done. Plus, you have like Alex over there explaining in an 8-minute video step by step. So don't worry about it. Like, take it. You'll have it. You'll have a recording of this meeting. We will get there in place. For anyone needing like an AI prompt within a Clay table, if they want to pretty much just replicate everything that we did, you can find Alex on LinkedIn, basically ask him. He's a cool dude. He will probably share the prompt with you or even the full Clay table. So yeah, it's a plug and play solution from this point on. And you guys, it's up for you guys just utilize it and find the right thought leader and replicate this for any specific LinkedIn account. Now, I'm going to shift a little bit to talk about on the LinkedIn side of things, right? So your LinkedIn accounts, guys, are an asset, regardless whether they are your LinkedIn accounts or your client's LinkedIn accounts. Right. And basically, I know that sketchy feeling between I want to do this service for someone versus how is this going to apply on their LinkedIn account, or are there any repercussions that I should be aware of? Quite honestly, guys, like if you're not doing that, you are leaving first too much money on the table just because like email is a great channel, has been working great for all of us. But then again, like you cannot produce the same results time over time because there is the huge inbox saturation plus deliverance issues that are on ongoing basis across board, right? But LinkedIn will bypass those spam filters, will bypass those deliverance issues. It will create that relevance that makes sense. And it's pretty much going to be something to begin with, right? Cool platform like Trigify will pretty much just give you relevancy on why and when should you reach out. So if I had to break it down a little bit on the LinkedIn side of things, obviously you will see that not every person gets the same acceptance rate. Why is that? It's because behaviorism of humankind. That's all there is. Each and every one of us has highest chances of hitting the accept button if the person sending a connection request is a C-level executive. It's just like pattern that we all have in mind. Opposed to that, like imagine yourself seeing a connection request from a sales representative. How will you behave on that? Whether your expectation would be if I hit that accept button, I am looking to get that sales slap pitch like in the next message, or is it going to be, oh, what a great salesperson I got to meet? So you see my point? Leveraging on the LinkedIn account, there is a hierarchy. So you pretty much take the highest ranking LinkedIn account that you can afford to use. It's pretty much going to use that account first. And second, you will also use other accounts just to reach a certain level of scalability. Now, there is a question pretty much that I hear a lot these days because people are used to forecasting how many people can I reach per month, right? And typically everyone is just, obviously they're used to, well, I got one email account, I can probably reach to 100 people per month. I'm just throwing numbers here. I am no email expert whatsoever. So it's the same thing on LinkedIn. One LinkedIn account can reach 800 people per month with connection requests. Depending on how many people will accept that connection request, that's how many people you can message. So the average acceptance rate on LinkedIn is around 30%. 800 connection requests, 30% acceptance rate, 240 people messaged. That's your one LinkedIn account. CEO's LinkedIn account, Nick actually got 75%. So meaning we can message more people, right? We're not just, when you put together like messaging and more, it always feels like spam, which is not the case. It's just reaching out more relevant ICP with an account that people are glad to accept. That's all there is, right? So pretty much you got 800 connection requests. You will leverage those by an acceptance and by messages. Now, set your expectations right, because if you're leveraging on accounts which are account executives, I mean, hell, we even have our designer in our outbound sequences. So yeah, but then again, if you're leveraging, don't set your expectations that I should hit 50% just because Ilya, Alex, Nick, and Max told me that I will do it. Right, it's going to be around 25 to 30%, and it's just fine as long as you are reaching to 200 people on LinkedIn. Why is that important? Because guys, it's 15% average reply rate on every person that you message on LinkedIn. That's the average. And you can imagine how many people are misusing our platform or misusing LinkedIn outbound in general, right? Like 99% of them do that. And the average reply rate is still 15%. So if you play your cards right, you're looking at 40% minimum on a relevant topic and got your ICP talking about the thing that could eventually lead to that conversion or to increasement of the pipeline. So I gotta, I'm sorry to take like a really long solo over here. Hope you guys don't mind. I saw a question basically that was, well, how do you actually transfer this to your CRM? It's quite simple, through nurturing. Once you have your ICP talking on a relevant challenge, topic, whatever it is, that you know for a fact that your company, by selling product or a service, can solve, you will never close a deal on a connection request or on an outbound message. You will close a deal when you have a decent discussion, like one human being to another, having a discussion how we can help you overcome challenge XYZ. Once you have that, yes, it takes time. Well, every good thing in life takes time, right? So basically have that discussion, respect the LinkedIn audience, respect your ICP, and your pipeline will be increased, guys. It's like just a matter of time. That's all I had to say about the LinkedIn side of things. Guys, I think that we are pacing pretty nicely over here. I didn't see the Q&A section. Do we have something like something that was not attended? But I encourage you to shoot more questions over here.
I saw one question where people ask, how do you pick the right person to scrape the followers of? Where I can give
Great
my
question.
take in here, and that's basically how I think about building campaigns. But basically, the best type of audience that you can get is always gonna be your own audience. But there is one problem with that this audience is usually very limited. And so the second best and the third best audience that you can always pursue, it's always going to be people that are educating themselves on the problem that you solve. Or it can be people that are using some similar solution to solve the problem that you solve. And so here's what I mean by that. You have to think about who is an influencer out there or a company that basically holds my target audience. This can be competitors. This can be anybody that talks about your solution. So Trigify makes it very easy. You can quite simply just get the URL of that person, put it out there, and then you have a list of all the people that follow them. It used to be so complicated in the past. There were ways to do it, but it wasn't as simple. So that's usually the first play that I do. The second play is when you think about other tools or other people that talk about similar type of solution. So here's what I mean by that. I want to give you some practical examples. I had one client where they were basically solving the problem of high churn, but they were doing it through voluntary churn. So if you go and try to cancel your subscription, you usually get these types of pop-up offers that just pop up. So this is one solution, but there are companies that solve the involuntary churn. And so what we did was we basically scraped the followers of these types of companies that solve the problem in just with a different mechanism. And then we reach out and said, hey, I saw that you're using this type of solution. It's great, but have you also considered this one, which is our solution? And that's a great personalization point. So usually these two are going to be very huge amount of leads that you can scrape. Trigify makes it extremely easy. You can even do groups or events, which is done through Heyreach. Ilya, if you want, you can share how you can scrape the followers of a group or event attendees. This one is super, super hot. But basically, you have these tools. So it's no longer the case of getting the lead list from Apollo or any of these software, getting a massive list, and then you have nothing to personalize your outreach from. Just using AI is not relevant. If you use relevancy, it's always going to be better than personalization. And we have the stats to prove it. But yeah, I'm going to stop here. Ilya, you can share like how you can do it with Heyreach. We showed previously how you can do this through Trigify. So these two are just awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I will walk you through the process. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Like you would scrape any type of a search, any type of an audience from LinkedIn with our inbuilt scrapers. I will walk you through it. But obviously, it's like a great point that Alex made. It's I know like why is this relevant or where have I found you, and now I'm using the intent signals to basically create a bridge between you and me. And that's all there is in a nutshell, right? So about the scrapers, so I'm sorry, I'm going to go back a little bit over here. So pretty much we have an event to which you are attending. So let's say, I don't know, I'm attending a lot of events for scraping, to be honest. So I'm going to use anyone which is I think this one. Yeah, it's the same one, I guess, if it's not ended. So you take an audience that is, oh yeah, we are lagging over here a little bit. You take an audience, you have 40,000 attendees, and remember this, like I'm going to share you on a better piece of advice over here. Not everyone is relevant. Quite honestly, on Max Mitcham followers, I mean, you can imagine how many people were there just because they admired the shorts that this guy is creating, right? And they were like, well, no, I just like Max posts because his videos are so entertaining to watch. And I was like, well, yeah, let's not do that. So yeah, pretty much if you want to create a relevancy to a certain extent, for instance, on the event attendees, just open it up and then you apply all filters and you pretty much filter by location or filter by, I don't know, a past company or a keyword over here, right? Once you create that search, it's pretty obvious. You just copy the URL from here, heading to Heyreach, and you will get a sample audience of 1,000 people. That's because that's how many LinkedIn returns per every search. Now, this is all great. This is the event attendees. Click on continue, paste on the URL, name your list, select your account, and then start importing. But then again, on a little bit on a high end, for everyone just doing purchasing data from static databases like Apollo, Zoom Info, I mean, you name it, basically, you know, like the usual suspects. I'm not going to name them. This is something that we've discovered. It's pretty much how you compare them versus LinkedIn. LinkedIn, guys, is the only self-updated database in the world. Everyone else tries to follow LinkedIn. Why is that? Because if I change a job tomorrow, the first place I would go is obviously my wife and my mother to tell them that I have changed jobs. And the third place will obviously be LinkedIn, just to update my status so I can get some likes over there and share my excitement. But bottom line, I am a data point on LinkedIn, which is self-updating itself. So Apollo can do that because they're a static database and they need to enrich and find and real-time enrichment and all of that, like that pain point. But bottom line, it's not real-time. The only real-time database is LinkedIn. The only relevancy that you can pull off from their profile without really you stalking everyone on LinkedIn is Trigify, the best platform you can execute your LinkedIn campaigns. You know it, right? It's Heyreach. Now, I'm just messing with you. But yeah, cool. Guys, we are around 17 minutes until we wrap this up. I think that at the last 5 minutes, and by the way, thank you for all 80 people sticking around. It's a real pleasure to see an audience just listening. My whole point was, let's talk about a little bit on the QA section. Obviously, I lost my thought. So let's go through that in the chat. If Nikola, please help me on this one. If we have some questions in the chat that I might be missing. But yeah, let's cover those. So we've got answer live. Is there a difference that the person's title, like a CEO versus founder? No, man, like it doesn't really matter. Anything like a C-level exec, it's all the same. Founder might be even better, right? Where are these LinkedIn accounts coming from? So I don't know who sees this, but
and that's our end, yeah. So you don't need to log into LinkedIn. You don't need to download a Chrome extension. You don't need anything. You don't even need to be on LinkedIn. Well, you kind of need to be on LinkedIn if you're going to use Heyreach. But from Trigify side of things, like we handle all of that for you. So there are obviously other systems out there, right? Like Phantom Buster and things like that. If you're going to use us, like you can do it more at scale, quite frankly, and you can track, hundreds of competitors or thought leaders as a result, basically.
Yeah, guys. By the way, stay away from browser extensions that crawl your link, that use your LinkedIn profile to crawl data from LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Trust me on this one, that's the most dangerous thing that you can do on your LinkedIn profile, regardless whether you're sending connection requests or messages. That thing doesn't even matter compared to the crawling part. So yeah.
I actually
Max,
did the exercise and I launched a campaign before this webinar. I use Heyreach obviously for that. But basically, I asked them what are some good questions that we want to go over on the webinar. I can go through some of them because I think there will be an interesting discussion. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I would like to just respect the people in the Q&A section because they are here on live. So we will go through and we will basically come back to the questions that the Q&A section prepared to us. Okay, so we go with Jacob Elliott. Question number 2. Was there any way to train what relevant information the system should look like? EA business owner, like post related buying specific software suite, or a post about problem that software solves? I think, Max, this one is for you.
This one's for me. Yeah, so you can so we have an AI system that will tag based on the way that you define the relevant like ICP. You can't tell it like, hey, tag it if they like a post related to XYZ. So the way that you would go about basically doing that is you would probably push it through to either Clay, or you can do it inside of Trigify as well, where we have like an AI agent and GPT, and then you can qualify whether that tag, so you can tag it on like industry, headcount, things like that, has also commented on a post that contains a certain keyword. So that's how you would go about that, Jacob. That's kind of like the angle there. Just as an FYI, like that particular use case, I actually built a campaign, linked it to Heyreach really. But what I've done is I monitor Adam Robinson as like a thought leader. He posts typically about like 4 subject areas. It's like VC versus bootstrapped, founder-led branding, so on and so on. As I pick up the engagement that he gets, I use an AI system that tags whether it's one of those 4 categories. Depending on which of the category it is, it routes it to a Heyreach campaign, where a particular lead magnet is weighting based on the topic that they've been engaging with. So if it's like founder-led content, I'm like, hey, I can see you engage a lot with founder-led content. Here's how I would 10x like my impression count, for example. And you know that they're going to love that shit because they've been engaging with that. You don't even need to reference Adam, and you're routing it with a lead magnet. So it just like kills from like a performance perspective.
Yeah, I never thought of it like breaking down to the influencer and the topics that they were discussing. That makes so much sense. You've heard that, guys, from the OG himself. Okay, moving on. Vladimir, can we import a list of 1,000 prospects and personalized messages by AI with our own script to Heyreach, and Heyreach sends these personalized messages to everyone automatically? Yes, Vladimir, you can use Heyreach as an execution tool based on a list that you have imported, whether from CSV, whether with an API or through Trigify. But yeah, the short answer is you can do that. Next question from Answer It Live. Yeah, I'm confused here a little bit. That type an answer, sorry guys. We would like to import our contacts from ZoomInfo. Vladimir, I strongly suggest you do not do that. You either run it through Clay table or a manual cleanup and stuff like that. ZoomInfo, last time I checked, was 35 to 40% behind LinkedIn, meaning you are working with an obsolete data. In my opinion, ZoomInfo costs like 1,300 per year, 13,000, sorry, per year. I don't really see a point where they're justifying that price tag at this point, but yeah, it is what it is. So that's my advice. Don't do it. If you want to do it, obviously download in a CSV, import in a CSV. That's just about it.
Let's hear a little bit about state versus real-time databases. The thing I call them static databases, which is basically Apollo, ZoomInfo, Lasha. They're great platforms. They serve their purpose, but you know the intent-based prospecting nowadays works much better if you compare it with the static databases. Like for example, Trigify, you know, those evergreen campaigns that Max mentioned, or website visitors and stuff like that. Those are producing much better results compared to just getting, you know, the static database. Even if you start from a static database, run them through something where you get much more information, because right now just doing outreach based on what we call basic information, which is the company size, industry and stuff like that, it's not enough. You need to have a little bit more info to make the whole outreach much more effective. So those are my 2 cents on this question.
Absolutely. Okay, how can we move the message templates and push it to Heyreach? I'm not sure I understand this, but yeah, you can just create messages within Heyreach and store them as a template. Answer live. If I'm posting on topics and I don't directly relate to the service or the problem I solve, should I still reach out to the people engaging with those posts? It
depends on the strategy. Yeah, it depends on your strategy. Like if they're engaging with if I'm posting to if they're engaging with your content, I reach out to everyone who engages with my content, both via LinkedIn and via email, just because I want to thank people for engaging with me, because I know if they come back to engage with me again, it's just like LinkedIn works like a network, right? So by them engaging with me, it brings it to the top of their profile and hopefully I can hit someone. But the only thing that I'll say is, we have a filter inside of Trigify where you can filter it by the amount of times that someone has engaged with that person or you. So typically, if you're wanting it to be like understanding if there's levels of intent, filter it to like 3+ more engagement. Then you know that, hey, like this person is consistently coming back and liking the same type of content over and over again. That shows a higher level of intent versus a one-off like, for example.
Definitely. Guys, we're going to speedball this because we've got like 9 minutes left. I'm reserving the last 5 minutes for the thing that we all been waiting for to announce. So let's keep it short and sweet. Does Trigify allow you to see patterns? For example, a lead like post related to finance 3 times last week.
Yes. Yeah. So that goes back to what I was just saying. So
Yeah.
you can then the longer you track someone, the better it becomes because it's accruing all of the engagement that that individual is getting, and then you can filter down on that engagement, basically.
Absolutely. What would be the ideal social signal to identify digital transformation leads? I have no experience in
Yeah,
this.
so we're actually launching a feature next week where you can find people talking about specific things, i.e. digital transformation, or you can find people engaging with digital transformation content. So it's like a discovery feature. So this question is more like, how do I find the people to start tracking? And that basically would solve that. So you can find anyone talking about certain topics based on if they talk about it with X influence and X strength, i.e. frequency, or the other side of the foot, which is if they've engaged with that content.
Oh,
Is
that
that
will
just
be
for
our
LinkedIn? Is that just for LinkedIn, or are you launching also?
That's going to be just to start with is LinkedIn in end of November, which we're in. Start of December, we're adding Reddit, YouTube, podcasts, and Twitter into that, and into our social listening. By the way, it's something that we haven't talked about here, but I've started testing it with Heyreach. We have like a social listening feature, so I can find people talking about specific things and then push them straight away. So rather than waiting for the engagement, it's finding them as they talk about it.
Oh yeah, guys, keywords. Okay, so keyword targeting is a massive thing. I mean, Nick can say something about the days where we did that on Reddit, obviously, with our previous tool. But nevertheless, Nick, sorry, man, for the sake of time, like, yeah, it was a crazy thing to have. Okay, Vladimir, can you explain if we have embellish our AI messages with additional relevant content based off the comments or the interaction on LinkedIn? I think, Alex, this question is for you, meaning how you can use the reaction type into your outbound sequences, if I got that right.
It's very easy. If you want to use Clay in the mix, it's super easy. You just create a formula. If it says comment, you just write it as commented on. If it's like, you just turn it into liked, and then you push that as a custom variable to Heyreach. If you don't want to go into the extra step, because for some people, Clay is budget heavy, you can just say engaged with. Doesn't
Nice.
need to be that complicated.
Absolutely. Okay, Nabil, we answered this already. Moving on, what tool can what tool can we use instead of Zoom Info to get a phone number of people? So far, Zoom Info has been amazing. Yeah, Zoom Info does a great job. You can use Cognism as well. But yeah, pretty much that's like the cold calling game, and we are no experts there. So my apologies. I mean, can I obviously my apologies. I meant how can I push a message script? On Clay to Heyreach usually only carries the lead info. Though that's not true. You can send people to a campaign and you will have a sweet tutorial like reach me on LinkedIn. Basically, I will send you the walkthrough on how to set it up Clay to Heyreach. It's pretty straightforward. Would you recommend only working with real profiles? Say you want to scale the volume, but have a small team. Yeah, guys, about that. You can do it, and this is a final question. I will answer it. You can do it. It's not that it's prohibited. Like you can find many accounts vendors out there who pretty much will serve you with accounts for alias accounts. They are not real people per se. Then again, you should expect like a discrepancy between the acceptance rate and the reply rate. People will not notice that. So let's be honest here, because only people using fake accounts will notice a fake account. Most of them will not. And if you are using fake accounts, I mean, I have nothing against, to be honest. But then again, you have to have an established audience and established messaging. And in that way, when you know that this is working for a fact based on a criteria that you have set, then it's when you scale it with fake accounts on multiple names. Because if you use the accounts too soon, you will never know whether it's the quality of the account versus the quality of your outreach. So be a little bit more like take a step back, but you can do it. Cool, guys, we are nearing to the end. Nick, Max, I'm going to leave you to it, guys, like announce the challenge and let's kick things off.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ilya. So everyone, we have a special challenge to announce. Heyreach with Trigify decided to give a really generous prize to the person who is going to run the best performing campaign, share all of those results on LinkedIn, tag both Trigify and Heyreach in that post, go over through the strategy, share the details how you achieve those results. The judge here will be Alex from OneAway, and the price is 1 year free usage of Trigify on the growth plan and 1 year free usage of Heyreach with 5 slots. There's going to be only one winner. There's 15 days. The challenge starts today. The judge will be Alex. So let's get the ball rolling, and super hyped to see all of your submissions.
Yeah,
Nice.
I loved the excitement that you went into this, like announcing this whole challenge. Let me just clarify that a little bit. You guys need to create a Loom video explaining the process, and it's pretty much the most creative way of using Trigify, combining that with Heyreach, and basically just be as creative as possible, be as crazy as possible, find irrelevant and make them relevant. We take that crazy stuff, like each and every one of us. Record that Loom video, share it, or record a LinkedIn video, bottom line, tag us, and after 15 days, I think that around 22nd, we will announce the winner on LinkedIn. Pretty much, yeah. It will be exciting.
Yeah, so just on that, I think some people are asking, it's 15 days. We're gonna start it from today, I think, right? So like 15 days from today. Anyone who comes on to Trigify, drop us a Slack message saying you're doing the challenge. We're a 7-day trial, so I'll increase your trial up to 14 days. So make sure you do that. Otherwise, you've got less time to try and make it work. Albeit said, Alex did get the 49 replies in 5 days. So let's see if anyone can beat him. But yeah, drop us a message and I will beef up your account. I'll turn on social listening. I'll give you everything, basically. Just let me know that you're doing it and we'll have some fun.
Guys, I really enjoy this. I don't know, I'm not being biased. We've did so many webinars. I know that everyone is pretty much seasoned at webinars these days. I want to thank the three of you for taking the time, for making an effort. Max, Nick, thank you for the generosity here. Bottom line is that let's have fun with this. Let's learn from each other. Let's create some use cases that are applicable for each and every one of us. That's the whole idea. Thank you all for joining, and thank you all for staying. We expect your post. We expect everything on LinkedIn. Let's keep the ball rolling, guys.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Bye all.
Thank you, guys. See
Bye
you.
all.
Thank you all.